So in this video, I'm going to try my best to explain how I've set up Streamlabs and how it may benefit you. It's just an easier way of doing it and an explanation of some of the settings in Streamlabs, because a lot of YouTube videos now try and explain the best settings. However, it does depend on the person, like your internet speeds, the console or Xbox, well, not Xbox, but either the console or PC you have. It just all depends on them variables. So when you open up Streamlabs for the first time, you should either be asked to log in, or you should be shown promptly with a screen like this. You won't have all of this here in these. It'll probably be blank, and that's where you'll start off. But hopefully by the end of this video, you might end up with some stuff like these, which is basically just your stream overlays and your game captures, stuff like that. But in the top left here, you'll have your editor, which is for your whole stream, so you can see what's being displayed, what's streaming, if you're live, etc. Underneath, you'll have alert box editor, which allows you to install widgets of alerts. So alerts are basically when someone follows you, sends you a donation, stuff like that, that will pop up on the screen. A lot of people do tend to think that the chat box is an alert, however it is not, it's separate own theme. So you have a few straight off the bat widgets you can install. There should be a free category on here. However, if you don't want any from the Streamlabs website or app, I will be showing you a great website where you can get widgets, overlays, all of that for absolutely nothing, and it is an amazing website. So underneath you have themes, which you can get some themes for free on here. It's a bit hard to find some free ones sometimes. However, they are literally just click and install, and it's set all of your scenes up for you. All you need to do is add a display or game capture, and you'll be straight ready to stream. Just have to optimize the settings, and that's that. You have your app store, but you won't really need to use this. This is just to install apps and overlays apps. Nothing too big. You got your growth that shows your analytics of your streams, and then you got editor here, which, to be honest, no one will really be using that. But back to the editor anyway. So on the bottom left, you'll have a settings tab. If you click on that, this is where all of your streaming settings will apply. You can copy my stream settings. The only things I would suggest is make sure you find your own bit rate and best settings for you. So how this works is leave the audio track, that doesn't need to be messed with. Your encoder is what streams the screen or streams Streamlabs to Twitch or YouTube. Your encoder is basically depending on hardware. I would never recommend using software to stream. That's using the software to create the video and upload it, and it can cause a lot of issues. So if you have hardware NVENC, that is for GeForce cards, I do recommend using that. But if not, there will be an option for AMD if you are using an AMD hard drive, not hard drive, if you're using an AMD graphics card. But if you can tinker around with it, do some test streams to see which one runs best for you. You have your rate control. If you enable the import streaming service, you'll get a few extra options here. So this means constant bit rate, and your bit rate is what will tell you the quality of your stream, and it's certain for like your resolution. So mine's set to 4500, which is a good bit rate. 720p 60 fps videos or streams. And on Twitch there is a great guide to tell you what to use. So if you're using like X264 specs, which is AMD, it will say like what bitrate to use for that certain stream. However, it does depend on your internet speed. So if you do a speed test and figure out your upload speed, usually I think it's around half of your upload speed you would have to set your bitrate. So let's say you have 10 megabytes per second upload speed, then you would probably do about 5000 or 4000 bitrate. That's usually the best options to do. And if you do want to do 1080p 60 fps, you do have to realize that a lot of viewers cannot actually watch 1080p 60 fps videos because it does depend on whether they have the internet speed to watch that, and with streaming these days a lot of people do not. So 720p 60 fps is a really good spot, or 1080p 30 fps depending on whether you're playing like on console. So if you ever do need to look at this, just type in stream.twitch.tv/encoding/ and that will come up, or you can just type in Twitch bitrate and it should be the top link. So as you see, I've got about 8 at the minute. It's usually 10, but with me internet being terrible today, so I would probably still recommend going about halfway, which I am at the minute. So if you go back to your editing, your settings, you'll see your bitrate. Put that depending on your video resolution, what you want to stream at. Keyframe interval, leave it 0. That's set at auto. Doesn't really need to be changed. Quality preset, I set mine to quality. You can have it to performance depending on whether you want your stream to be looking better or whether you want it to perform better. It's a bit of it's a hard one to decide, but you can have a tinker around with that. Profile, I usually set that to high, GPU 0, and 2 max B frames. The B frames is, I'm pretty sure, I might be completely wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's like if you're, oh, the dog's barking. So I'm pretty sure if you set it to 2, I'm pretty sure if it's like your stream buffers, that's the max latency it'll go behind. Does that make sense? I might be completely wrong. I'm just going to forget that. But yeah, so if you do want to set it up for recording, there is a complete different recording setting, and you can change it to use a stream encoder, so the exact same as your stream, like the 4500 bit rate, it'll say the exact same. To audio, you can change it here, your sample rate, which is basically the quality. I recommend just using the 44.1, it doesn't really make that much of a difference. You can change your speakers and your mic here. There's nothing really major on this part. If you go to video, you can basically, your base canvas resolution is the resolution of your monitor. You should be 1920 by 1080, but if you have a different monitor, that may vary. The output is what you'll be streaming at, so I've set mine to 720p, which is 1280 by 720. 1080p would not be 1920 by 1080, and these are basically described as are. So if you are scaling, which means if you are going lower than 1080p, you would use the Lancos sharpen scale, which will make it look better. But if you are not scaling and using 1080p, you would use faster, and it says here it will be blurry if you do scale, so that is recommended if you are not scaling. You have common I'd just leave that common FPS values. That doesn't really, well, I don't know what them to do, but I'd just leave it at that. So you have your frames per second. 60 is really good for like first-person shooter games on PC. But if you are streaming like Xbox or any other console, 30 FPS runs absolutely fine. You've got your hotkeys, which you can set to certain scenes and to change or enable your camera, etc. On the advanced tab, you've got your process priority, so that will set the priority of Streamlabs over the games, or it just gives it a bit more performance to stream. So I have that usually above normal. I don't really set it to high because I do like to have my FPS. However, I do have a decent enough PC to do that. Video, you can leave that all, or you can just copy the settings there. That's just basically making it look nice and the colors vibrant. There's not really much else here. You can disable stream delay. That will help with some of the delay. Automatically reconnect. That will just reconnect with your stream buffers, and that is that from there. You don't really need to do anything on scene collection. You can keep notifications on. Appearance just sets the appearance of Streamlabs, and other than that, there's not really much else on there. So on here, I'm going to create a new scene. I'm going to just call it new scene. So when you create a scene, it will be here. You can select the scene and you will have a blank state. Once you have this blank screen, what you will need to do is just add a new source. And it may be a bit overwhelming to begin with, but it's quite simple. So when you click add a new source, everything here is classed as a source. So you will have window capture. You have window capture, which is you capture certain windows. So if you wanted to just capture a Google window instead of the full screen, you can do. Or if you were running a game in windowed mode, you can capture a game like that. You have game capture, which captures full screen videos. So any software or game that is in full screen will be captured. Or display capture, which captures the single display. However, display capture would be more recommendable if you have two monitors, or if you have another way to check your stream. You can install the Streamlabs app on your phone, which is a great way to check your stream and edit it there. So to start off with, I'm just going to do a simple game capture. Add a new source, and it will be set to auto. Don't really have to mess with these too much. You can turn capture cursor off so your cursor isn't always on the screen. I'd leave the hook rate and everything like that. This one just enables it so people can see your Steam, but that doesn't really need to be enabled. So once you have that all done, it will look a bit plain. There's not really much to your stream. So just to spice it up, you can add a chat box, which will be in the widgets. You can add goals, follower goals, and these, when you add them, can be moved around the screen, so like so, and you can size them and do all that, but I'm just going to delete that for now. So coming back to the website I was telling you about with the overlays and alerts, there is a website called streamelements.com. So all you need to do is type in streamelements.com on Google or Firefox or whatever browser you're using, and log in with your Twitch or YouTube. Once you have logged in, it should look like this. If you go to your overlay gallery, there will be a whole list of overlays that you can use and themes for your Twitch. There is an alert section if you just want alerts, but once you have made an alert or made a overlay, it should be set in your overlay area. Once you have your overlay area, you can edit them, and you'll see how your overlay will look in on Streamlabs. So you can preview and get a code to see what it looks like. But if you go to the copy overlay URL and head back to Streamlabs, if you go to the add a new source section and add a, where is it? A browser source, there we go. So if you add a browser source and you paste that URL, you will get, let me just put this full screen. So you should get your overlay just pop up right there. All you would have to do is add a video source, which will be your camera. So wherever that is, I might just be blind. Okay, well, basically you would add a video source and then you would just put that in the little box for your camera. I don't know why I can't find it. My eyes are just not working. It should be here, but well, I'll show you on mine. So you'll have a video capture device. When you first do it, it'll come up like this, and you can select your camera and change your FPS and all that. You can configure the video and change the brightness and just mess around with them settings if you like. But just place it in the box and that'll be set. Also on this website, you can emulate like pips and stuff and see how they look, because a lot of the overlays and themes do come with alerts already activated. So when you get, like, let's say a follower, mine will come up like this. So this is how it already comes up. You can add them here. There is a lot of settings. You can click the little plus button and add stuff yourself if you like. But that's just a easy way to add overlays for free and not have to create your own, and it works pretty well. Also, the Stream Elements has a lot of cool features. So you've got chat box if you want to have like song requests from the viewers or stuff like that, or you want it to mute certain viewers who are using strong language, etc. There is a new revenue part as well, which you can do partnerships. So if you click on this, you will get some programs. So let's say Blood Hunt in a Circle, you can apply to partner with them and do challenges on the game as a sponsor. So it is a way to actually promote your channel, and pretty good. You can do giveaways on here, and there's just a lot of quite handy features. If you click on dashboard, I'm pretty sure that will just show you like your stream info. So yeah, this app, I do recommend just having a look at it maybe and just going through all the settings, but it is a pretty good app. So once you have done that, it will pretty much be set from there. You can go straight to live streaming if you wanted to. However, once you press go live, there will be a little feature here that says use optimize encoder settings. So if you do not want to mess with the settings and try and make it best for you, you can actually let Streamlabs optimize it for you straight away. So unlike OBS, Streamlabs is able to set it all up for you. It's the easier version of OBS, Open Broadcaster. So it's just a lot more simpler. Also, there is a mixer tab here, which allows you to change your speaker volume and your microphone volume. And if you click on the little dial, you'll have filters. So if you want to add like noise suppression and noise gate or gain, there is a lot of videos that will explain these, but I don't really understand them that well, to be honest. The best one I have right now is noise gate. This has a like close threshold and open threshold, and what that does is, let's say like there's creaking on my chair, the mic won't pick that up because it doesn't open the mic threshold to -30 until, like, let's say I speak. Because I speak, it'll be higher than that, so the mic will pick it up, but it won't pick up anything less than that. So if I was to whisper, you'd probably struggle to pick me up. And the close threshold is after I speak, how quiet it has to be for it to close again. It's quite a hard one to explain, but there are many videos explaining it, and just go and check them out and you'll probably find it a lot easier. But you'll get all of your sources here for your microphone, all of your sources here for your actual stream, and on that Stream Elements website there is a lot of other things. So you can have a be right back scene, a end of stream scene, or an intermission. So this is mine at the moment. I've currently just got this and a chat box in, and because there's less sources, it will run better because a lot of the overlays and the effects are running straight from the Stream Elements website. So it will probably save the hardware for you to actually play the game on, which will be a lot better for you. Streamlabs isn't as demanding as OBS, however, I do recommend, if you're playing a game, to set it to 60 FPS with VSync on, because I will just give that bit more performance for Streamlabs to not lag or stutter. In the bottom here, you have a performance window which tells you what your CPU is running at, the FPS, how many frames have dropped. So let's say your stream starts lagging, it'll say how many frames you've lost for that. It tells you what your current bit rate is that you're running at, and it will turn from green to amber to red if there are issues with your stream. So that's a handy way to see how your stream is performing. Once you go live, you'll have a chat box on the right here to see everyone's chats. And then if you do need to check for your followers and stuff, that they'll all be down here. So that's like a little mini feed to tell you who's followed, who's subscribed. It's all just kind of here and works pretty well. So one thing you do have to keep in mind though when streaming is the stream will always be different than your preview window. So depending on the settings you set, it will always look different. There is not a... The only way you can get your stream to look absolutely crisp is if you have the internet to do so, and if you're an affiliate on Twitch. YouTube is very different though. You can get decent video to YouTube, and as well as that, YouTube live streaming is becoming a bit more popular now, so you should probably look into that. However, Twitch is one of the main streaming sites and everyone uses it. So other than that, there's not really too much else to this. So when you have set it up, you've got your overlays, your chat box, your video cam. You just need to set your game, press go live, and you can name your title, choose the game, add a tag, and go confirm and go live. Once you go live, you'll see it straight on Twitch. You can also connect it to Twitter to notify people if you have a Twitter account, which is pretty handy. You have a little bell icon here that just tells you like the updates and etc., the news for Streamlabs. However, Streamlabs is constantly getting updated, and it is probably one of the best streaming apps at the minute. OBS is still one of the best though, because you can change a lot of things easier. Well, not easier, it's kind of like for more advanced people, whereas Streamlabs is an easier solution to stream. So I don't know if there is anything else. If you do want to record, there is a record button there. That's literally it to streaming. If you are streaming on console, The one thing you will have to do is either use a capture card or the or a streaming app. So there is a app, like let's say PlayStation Remote Play. This is one app you can stream on. However, I would recommend streaming that and not playing the games on it because there is delay latency. So once you want to stream like a console, what I would suggest doing is setting up a not game capture, uh, either a display capture and put it on full screen or a window capture and just select the window. So for me, it would be PlayStation Remote Play, and you'd put that in full screen, and then you'd play like that and stream it. So either use PlayStation Remote Play or the Xbox app, because the Xbox app now, well, it's always had streaming capabilities. However, do realize if you are streaming, it's going to be very hard on your internet because you need a lot of like download speed and upload speed to actually stream, and then as well as that you will need your internet to actually stream to Twitch. So it's kind of a mixed bag of how good is your internet to stream. If you do not have decent internet though, there are many capture cards that are really cheap at the minute, and a lot of people don't recommend getting cheap capture cards because they aren't the best. They don't look great, and you can't play games straight off the bat. But I've got one like this, which is like £10 on eBay or about £15 on Amazon. It works fine. How I've got it set up is I've got a HDMI splitter. So I've got a HDMI that goes into this port, and then it connects to a HDMI splitter, and I have one going into my monitor and one coming from the PlayStation or the Xbox. So I'd have the input going into the splitter, two outputs, one going into my monitor and one going into the capture card. If you are using a capture card like one of them cheap ones, on the video display, not display, the display, no, not this. I keep going to display. The video capture device. It should show up on here as like HD capture card or something like that, and that is how you'll stream or, well, I wouldn't play games that way. However, you can. It will just be very like laggy and not the best way to play it, depending on the game as well. But yeah, that is one way you can play on console and stream it. But that does require two monitors in my case, unless you do have the money to buy a Elgato maybe, because Elgato has a instant view feature, an instant game view. So if you use the instant game view app, it will have like nearly to zero latency, so you can actually play it on the screen while streaming. So it'll play it on your monitor, which is really good. However, Elgatos are going for a lot of money at the moment. So for cheap, you can literally get this straight set out the bat. For streaming wise, you do have methods to stream console. It just requires decent internet. But if you already have decent internet, a decent PC or laptop, you can stream this way. So I don't know if that's going to help any, but that's basically most of the settings that I've gone over and the apps to use, all that stuff. But if you did find this helpful, please do leave a like, and I hope you enjoyed.